Hi guys, that's me, and today I just wanted to go through KR Multicases really. I was going to showcase how I use them, sort of show the best way to make the most out of the trays that you can get from KR Multicase, but I'll probably do that in a later video. But today what I wanted to do is go through generally how they work, and I know that the codes that they use for their trays can be quite confusing, and just try and explain them a little bit, because there isn't much of an explanation on the site. I mean, there's a tray selector, but that doesn't go very far as to explain what you're looking for. I always find it's a lot easier if you know what you're looking for before you try and build something. So essentially, the main thing to keep in mind is that with the KR Multicase, you can always split the case in half. So this essentially is one KR Multicase worth of trays here. You get the top bit that comes with every tray, but what I always try and do, instead of having a full size tray, is I like to have them separate like that. So what you can do is that affords you to use the different sizes. So in this one I have a half, quarter, as you can see there, and on this side I have a 2/3 and a third. So even though they don't match up, if I was to put this sort of on top of there, it'd come too short. If I was to put those two on top of this one, it'd be too tall. Even though they don't match up, you can actually mix and match them, and they fit in just fine. So that's the first thing to remember. The second thing that I wanted to go through was the codes, as I just explained. Fairly simple. Not sure whether this is going to be patronising in any way, but I'll try and keep it simple and not at all patronising. But essentially what you have is the first letter is a description of what type of tray you're buying. For example, this one here is 5x5, so 25 slots, whereas this one is 5x4, so 20 slots. And I believe this one is called an N, that's N for November, and this one is M for Mike. So that denotes how many slots you're getting in your tray. So that's the first letter. Now next comes a number, and the number denotes the depth of each tray. And generally the rule of thumb is the number tells you how many you'll fit in a full tray. So this one here is a 3, so it's a third, and you'll fit 3 of them in the depth of a tray. This one's a 4, you'll fit 4 of them. Again, that's a 2. The time when this falls apart is with this one here, the 2/3, which they call a 5. So that's the only one you need to remember. Now all of the trays you can get from KR Multicase come in either 4, 3, 2 or 5s, or the full, which I think is a 1. So that's all you have to really remember. And then the last one is whether it's a T or a H. So in this instance I've got a H, which is half. You can see only fills half the case, and if you were getting a T, it would be the full width, so you could get this size but the full span. And that's all I wanted to go through really at this point. I mean, I may as well give you a quick overview of sort of things you can expect to find in them. So you can see here I've got my tow drones, the broadside ones there, along with the crisis suits there. I've got some barrels which I use for my objective markers. Put that there. And then in this one I've got a tow tank, a load of bases in there, and then some additional bits there with the case. And then this slot here has the railgun. Forgot it for a moment there. So that's just an example of how I've used the third size, so the thirds and the 2/3 for my tow army. But what I've also done is for my Dark Eldar army, which have a lot more of the sort of standard sized troops, I've been able to use the 4s, which are much thinner because the models are much smaller. And again, there's another load of troops in there, some Incubi, Homunculus, Rax. And then what I've been able to do to make the most of the space is I've put the Raiders and the Reaver jet bikes in sort of custom. Now this was a pick and pluck, so that means that you can pull off these individual ones you see here, you can cut those out. And what I've done is I've cut them in a way that that everything sort of stays in for these Raiders. And that's it really, guys. I'll go into more detail on how I managed to fit the most in, and because you can actually get trays which fit Raiders in them, but I think they take up either one of these slots, or they might even be a full depth tray, which of course you're buying too much tray there for what you actually need, and it's a bit of a waste. So the last thing you want to do is waste a whole KR Multicase on just a couple of Raiders. And that's it. So I'll be back in the next couple of videos, probably interspersed with my dark Eldar, just going through the different configurations I've got in my KR Multicase. Cheers guys, stay well.